Before we begin, I want to be very clear about one thing. This is a very big topic. Porn addiction does not affect just one area of life. It affects the way you see reality, the way you think, the way you feel, the way your energy works, and the way you connect with people. Because of that, it cannot be explained properly in just one video. So this video is part of one of a series. Each video in this series will explain one layer of the problem. If you really want full understanding, not motivation, not fear, and not guilt, then it is important to watch the continuation as well. Only when you see the full picture, things start making sense clearly. The first video is about one core idea, illusion. Because unless illusion is understood, nothing else will make sense. Now let's begin. Porn is not destroying your life because it is immoral, dirty, or bad. Porn is destroying your life because it slowly disconnects you from reality. And the moment a human being starts disconnecting from reality, something very important happens inside. The mind becomes confused, the emotions become unstable, the energy becomes scattered, and life slowly starts losing meaning. This is not philosophy. This is observable in psychology, in neuroscience, and in spiritual science. First, let us understand what illusion actually means. An illusion is not something that looks fake. An illusion is something that feels real, triggers emotions, creates reactions in your mind and body, but is not actually real. A mirage in a desert looks like water. A movie scene can make you cry. A dream can feel real until you wake up. In all these cases, the brain reacts first and truth comes later. The human brain does not have a built-in truth detector. The brain only responds to repetition, intensity, and emotion. If something is shown again and again with strong emotional stimulation, the brain accepts it as important, even if it is not real. That is why people can emotionally attach to fictional characters, celebrities they never met, or online personas that don't exist in real life. Porn works on this exact weakness of the human brain. Porn is not sex. Porn is a high-definition visual illusion of intimacy. It removes everything that makes real human connections real. There is no effort, no awkwardness, no rejection, no emotional responsibility, and no vulnerability. What remains is only stimulation, novelty, and control. In real life, intimacy requires patience. It requires communication. It requires emotional presence. It requires dealing with another human being, with their mood, their emotions, and their imperfections. Porn removes all of that. It gives you complete control. You can choose what you want, when you want, how long you want, and stop whenever you want. The brain loves control. The brain is always trying to save energy. It always prefers maximum reward with minimum effort. Porn gives a strong reward signal with almost zero effort. Over time, the brain starts learning a dangerous lesson. It learns that pleasure does not require effort, connection, or reality. It learns that pleasure is something you consume, not something you build. This is where the problem starts, because real life, relationships, growth, and meaning does not even work like that. But your brain slowly starts expecting life to function the way porn functions. When that doesn't happen, life starts feeling boring, heavy, slow, or disappointing. Porn does not make life boring. Porn makes your brain overstimulated. There is a big difference. When your brain is constantly exposed to intense visual stimulation, novelty, and dopamine spikes, its reference point changes. Normal things no longer feel exciting. Normal attraction feels weak, and normal connection feels insufficient. This is the same reason why normal food feels tasteless after eating junk food regularly. This is the same reason why silence feels uncomfortable if you are used to constant noise. Life did not become dull. Your nervous system became addicted to stimulation. Another important thing to understand is dopamine. Dopamine is not a happiness chemical. Dopamine is a learning chemical. Dopamine tells the brain, this is important, remember this and repeat this. Porn produces very high dopamine spikes because it combines novelty, sexual imagery, and instant reward. The brain learns very quickly. But dopamine always comes with a cost. The more intense the stimulation, the more the brain reduces its sensitivity over time. This means you need more stimulation to feel the same effect. This is why people escalate. This is why what excited you before stops working later. This is not because you changed. This is because your brain adapted. Now here is when illusion becomes dangerous. Life itself is meant to slowly move you towards reality. A child lives in imagination and fantasy. An adult is supposed to live in reality. Maturity means facing life as it is, not escaping from it. Porn pulls the mind backward. It trains the adult mind to escape into fantasy like a child. This is why many people addicted to porn feel stuck in life. They feel like they are not growing internally. They may be progressing externally, but inside something feels immature, restless, or unfulfilled. This is not accidental. When the mind spends too much time in fantasy, it loses the ability to stay grounded in reality. Porn also trains the mind to prefer control over uncertainty. In porn, there is no rejection, no emotional risk, no unpredictability. In real life, there is always uncertainty. You don't know how someone will respond. You don't know how a situation will unfold. This uncertainty is uncomfortable, but it is necessary for growth. Growth only happens when you step into uncertainty. Confidence is built by facing unpredictability, not avoiding it. Porn trains avoidance. It trains the mind to choose comfort over growth again and again. Over time, this reduces emotional strength and inner stability. Another very important factor is attention. Attention is not just focus. Attention is energy. Wherever your attention goes, your mental energy flows there. Porn hijacks attention very efficiently, not only when you are watching it, but even after you stop. Images replay in the mind, fantasies continue, thoughts return again and again. Even when you are not watching porn, the illusion lives inside your mind. This fragments attention. You may be physically present somewhere, but mentally you are somewhere else. This reduces depth. It reduces presence. It reduces the ability to fully experience life. Over time, this creates an inner conflict. One part of you wants clarity, growth, peace, and meaning. Another part wants escape, comfort, and stimulation. These two parts pull in opposite directions. This inner conflict drains energy. It reduces self-respect. It creates a subtle sense of dissatisfaction with yourself. Many people think they lack willpower. This is not true. Porn addiction is not mainly a willpower problem. It is a conditioning problem. Repeated exposure weakens the brain's decision-making systems. The part of the brain responsible for long-term thinking becomes less active. This is why people relapse even after deciding to stop. Understanding is more powerful than willpower. When you clearly see how an illusion works, it starts losing its grip. This is why this video is not about telling you to quit porn. This video is about showing you what porn actually does to your perception of reality. Porn is not the enemy. Illusion is the enemy. Porn is just one of the most efficient delivery systems for illusion ever created. Anything that replaces real experience with simulated pleasure will slowly disconnect you from life. Porn just does this at a very deep level. The danger of illusion is that it feels safe, it feels comfortable, it feels familiar. Reality feels demanding. Reality asks something from you. Reality requires presence, and reality requires effort. Illusion asks nothing and gives instant relief. This is why most people stay trapped. But a life lived in escape slowly loses meaning. Pleasure without effort does not create fulfillment. Stimulation without connection does not create happiness. Control without reality does not create strength. If you observe carefully, the moments that truly shape a human being are always real moments. Moments of effort, moments of vulnerability, moments of uncertainty, and moments of genuine connection. Porn replaces all of this with simulation. Over time, the mind forgets what real depth feels like. This does not mean you are broken. It means your brain learned something that can be unlearned. The first step is seeing clearly. When illusion is seen as illusion, it starts collapsing. You don't need to fight it aggressively. You don't need to hate yourself. You need to understand what is happening. In the next video, we will go one layer deeper. We will talk about expectations, how porn silently rewires what you expect from people, from attraction, from relationships, and from intimacy. And why, because of this, even real love can start feeling not enough. That is where most people suffer the most, without even realizing why. For now, just sit with this understanding. Notice how much of modern life is designed to pull you away from reality and into simulation. And notice how peace always comes when you return to what is real. Clarity is the beginning of freedom.